I said, guys, we didn't come here for no reason.
Hey, my brother, put a smile on your face. Okay? Because Florida State, if we gonna do it then, we do it big. Let's go, baby.
Here's the snap, handoff on the belly dive, and Stevenson's going to try to root his way in. He breaks through, and got the 10, 5, 3, 2 yards, touchdown FSU. This Ronnie Stevenson, senior, playing his final game. I thought he was tackled to the line of scrimmage, root hogging his way, and he broke into daylight, and he scores a touchdown.
If we don't get penalties and we don't get fumbles and we don't get interceptions, we can win the dead-gum ball game.
I said, are you strong? They said, I'm strong if you strong. I said, we strong then.
What are you doing?
Down to the 50, down the sideline to the 40, down to the 30. He separates. He's to the 20, to the 10, to the 5. Touchdown, Florida State.
Let's party, Tallahassee.
He's got PK Sam. Open. He makes the catch. Touchdown, Marshall. Touchdown, PK Sam. 55 seconds left. Sam takes a touchdown catch from Ricketts. 52 yards. 52 yards. Florida State leads 37-34. I see you, PK Sam.
Shot snare, good shot, Knowles win, Michael Snare's triple with no time left. Florida State beats Duke 76-73. The little team that could just did.
I said, guys, we didn't come here for no reason.
Hey, my brother, put a smile on your face. Okay? Because Florida State, if we gonna do it then, we do it big. Let's go, baby.
Here's the snap, handoff on the belly dive, and Stevenson's going to try to root his way in. He breaks through, and got the 10, 5, 3, 2 yards, touchdown FSU. This Ronnie Stevenson, senior, playing his final game. I thought he was tackled to the line of scrimmage, root hogging his way, and he broke into daylight, and he scores a touchdown.
If we don't get penalties and we don't get fumbles and we don't get interceptions, we can win the dead-gum ball game.
Welcome to Double Fries No Slaw. It is November 1st. I can't believe this year is quickly wrapping up. Myself, TJ Pittenger, as always, with Freddie Stevenson and Richie Barnes. How you fellas doing tonight?
Shoot, I'm good, man. Richie, how you feeling? I'm kind of full from all this damn candy I've been eating the past few days, but I'm getting.
Yeah, man, we were just talking offline a little bit. Like I bought all these Reese's cups for these trick-or-treaters, and I did not get a single trick-or-treater at my house this week. Yeah, I was upset, but that's good news for me and bad news for my waistline. But it's been fun. Florida State obviously did not lose. Tampa Bay, they play Monday night. They did not lose. So it's been a great weekend for me.
Richie, what did you do for Halloween? You got no trick-or-treaters. Richie, Freddie, what did you guys do yesterday and this weekend?
Yeah, man. So me and the wife, we just, we drank a good bit of wine and watched, I think we watched like 6 or 7 like horror movies yesterday. So it was a blast. It's kind of you feel like you're getting old because I'm enjoying that while on Facebook and Twitter, seeing all my friends that have kids and all their costumes. I was excited. I'm like, oh, that's cool. That's a cool costume. And I just sat on the couch and watched horror movies. So I had a great Halloween. How about you, Freddie?
Yeah, mine. I was a little busy yesterday, so my daughter, she went out with her mom for some Halloween activity. So I get home and they tell me to turn off all the lights so no trick or treaters come to the house while I'm there. But I'm watching Halloween movies, so I'm paranoid as hell in the house. I hear noises and everything, and I'm hungry as hell too. So I don't know if I want to go in the kitchen. I just saw somebody on TV get killed, but I made it through the night. All right.
Love it.
We watched one horror movie this year. I'm not big on horror movies. Shout out the Don't Go Out There podcast. Our guy Brian works with them. Nico, Michael Settle, and Dustin. Trying to leave anybody out. Freddie, I saw you were on there the other night, so I want to know what movies you guys were watching this weekend. What's your favorite horror movie? Your Halloween thing? Like, this has nothing to do with FSU, but let's talk about it anyway. It's a bye week. We're just filling time.
That's where I got caught up yesterday, man. I was watching they had a Halloween marathon on, and I was watching all the Michael Myers movies, and man, shit, it was one movie had me tripped out because I heard a noise at the door. I go outside, there's nobody there. I'm like, yo, Mike, you messing with me? Like, I know I'm not tripping, but I was paranoid as hell at the house last night.
Richie, what were y'all watching yesterday?
Man, we watched basically we have every streaming service possible. So Hulu, Netflix, HBO Max, all that stuff. We were just watching everything. But my favorite one, and it came out this month, I think, it's called Invisible Man on HBO Max. I mean, that's a trippy movie. I don't know if y'all have watched it yet or not, but we've watched it about 3 or 4 times, and it's such a good movie. And I would definitely recommend it to anybody who wants to see something that's a psychological thriller.
I don't like any of that kind of stuff, bro. Like, I am the biggest baby when it comes I just want to watch a comedy. Like, just show me a comedy and I'm good. But we did watch the original Halloween and I liked it a ton. So that was good. Yeah. Freddie, what'd your daughter dress up as? I saw her. Was she just a princess or?
Yeah, Pixie Fairy.
We did the Rapunzel thing. We've done Disney every Halloween. Like, year one was Little Mermaid. Last year was Tinkerbell. This year was Rapunzel. So every year it's a different Disney. I'm sure we'll do Moana next year. Like, it just never stops in my house.
All those Disney movies are great though. So
they are, man. We watch them every day. Yeah.
Like me and my wife don't even have kids yet, and we love watching Disney and Pixar movies. Man, they're all amazing.
Do you guys have passes? I mean, you live there in Orlando.
So my wife actually worked for Disney for 13 years. She started when she was at UCF at Rosen College. She started as Cinderella, and she worked there for 13 years. But now she's moved on. But we have enough friends that still work for Disney and whatnot that week. We'll still do our Epcot happy hour. Go drink around the world, watch the fireworks, and call it a night. But yeah, it's. I love Disney, man. I'm a huge Disney geek, and my wife, having worked there for so long, is a big part of that.
Yeah, no, my wife loves it. I like it a lot. I'm a big Disney fan for sure. So I'm also a big fan of Guthrie's. So shout out Guthrie's.
Yes. And that billboard. Let's go.
And that billboard. Yeah. So if you are in the Tennessee, if you're in the Tallahassee area and you hit Tennessee and Ocala, if you hit it just at the right moment, you will see a billboard that says, listen to Double Fries No Slaw while enjoying Guthrie's. Shout out Brian, who made that for us and got it over to Guthrie's, and they put that up on a billboard right there in the heart of Tallahassee. And again, Tennessee and Ocala. Super dope. I didn't think that 3 months in, a little less than 3 months, we would have we'd have billboards going up with our names on it, but that has happened. So shout out to Guthrie's. Obviously, keep tagging them on social media, showing them love and support. 1818 West Tennessee Street and 2550 North Monroe. Get a box of Double Fries No Slaw and tell them we sent you. I kept that a secret from you guys. I didn't tell you guys. It just popped up on social media out of nowhere. So what was your first thought when you guys saw that yesterday?
I don't know what I was doing. I was doing something. Then I hopped on Twitter and I was like, hold on, somebody got them Double Fries on the damn. And I looked, I was like, hold on, that's us, man. And I was turned up. But yeah, that's crazy, man. That's major, man. And like you said, we haven't been doing this that long. So that's definitely major. It's only up for here. We appreciate everybody that supported us so far, man.
Yeah. like TJ said, he didn't tell us about it. So like I see it, I'm looking at my wife, I'm like, babe, I think we got a billboard. She's like, what are you talking about? You got a billboard? I'm like, we got a billboard in Tallahassee. And I saw that. I sent it to everybody. I sent it to all my friends. I sent it to my mom. I sent it to anybody who knows me. And they're all like, congratulations. And it's weird for me because I'm like, I didn't think it was that big of a deal, but now I think it's a pretty big deal that we got a billboard. Like we've been doing this podcast for 3 months. And Guthrie's has been an amazing partner for us. So shout out to Guthrie's. That they've been far more than we could ever expect from them. But yeah, it's really cool to see like the podcast that we do, the three of us, and now we have a billboard. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's super cool. I'm ready to get up to Tallahassee in 4 weeks from yesterday. And for that Virginia game and go see it, which that Virginia game kind of worries me a little more now than it did before. I felt good about that Virginia game when they scored 14 points and 7 of them in garbage time on Miami. When they scored like 700 on North Carolina last night.
Man.
But yeah, I'm excited to go see it, man. That's super cool. And not sure I ever expected that. So appreciate Guthrie's. They've got some more new locations going up. A couple more in Georgia. I saw
blowing up.
Yeah, man. Well, they started sponsoring the hottest new pot on these streets. They got more people going to see them now, I guess. But no, shout out to Guthrie's. If you're anywhere near them, stop by. Again, tell them we sent you and tag us in a picture, and I will send you a Double Fries No Slaw sticker. We had some people jump in our DMs this week and ask how they can get those stickers. You can get one by tagging us in in your order, in your Double Fries No Slaw order, or you can sign up for our Patreon, which we encourage everybody to do. Check out our Patreon, patreon.com/Double Fries Pod, and you can get access to some exclusive, unique content for supporters only. We're going to be hanging out this weekend in the game day chat again for the Pitt game, which I'm super excited about. It's been 2 weeks since we've been in there, been able to hang out. So go check that out, and hopefully you guys will enjoy it. Richie, what are we getting into this week? We're going to talk a little second half of the season. We got some things going on. Talk to us, Richie. What's going on here?
Yeah, so we're kind of at the midway point in the season right now. So I thought it'd be a good idea to do some superlatives and just talk about, the team as a whole. Obviously, 2-4 is not where we want to be, but I think there's a lot of positives to take out of the season so far, and some definite negatives. And we're not going to, just blow sunshine up you guys for the whole podcast. But let's start with a couple superlatives, and I'll start with Freddie here. And man, the first one's like mine because this is my guy, but I'm gonna let one of y'all steal him from me. Let's start with the best newcomer on offense. Freddie, who's the best newcomer? First year player. So not someone who's been here and just is playing right now, but their first year in the system. And that's your guy on offense. Who do you got, Freddie?
I think a lot of us gonna have the same answer for this one.
Yeah.
I like Webb, man.
Yeah, I know it, man.
It was tough between him and Travis because I really believe Jordan Travis, he changed the course of this season for our team. But I like Webb. That running game really dictates everything we do on offense, and he's been a big piece for us.
Yeah, man. So you stole my answer, and I was gonna pick somebody else, but I'm not because I don't want to because he's been so good. And he was kind of the forgotten man in the backfield. Even in our preview podcast for the season, we talked about Corbin and Toafili. I feel like we didn't spend a lot of time talking about LaDamian Webb, but man, I think he's going to be very special. He's not going to be, Wart Dunn, Dalvin Cook special, but he's going to be a really good running back at Florida State. TJ, you gonna make this a trifecta, or you got another name for us?
I mean, he's definitely mine too. I mean, there's no question that he has been that player. If you made me pick somebody that wasn't him, I mean, it'd be between Toafili and the running back stable. I mean, we could all just pick a different running back, right?
Absolutely.
And that would be kind of what we'd want. I would venture to say that if you would have asked before the year, that probably outside of the offensive line, which we've been concerned with for years, would have been the position group that we were the most worried about with a transfer coming in. Didn't know much about, a true front Toafili and Webb, a transfer. So, for the running back crew to really be leading this team along with Travis as well, but, him using his legs a lot too. If we all had to like pick a new one each time, it might just be all three running backs. But yeah, Webb has been as far as truly new guys to the team. I mean, he probably wins it for both sides of the ball. For sure.
So the next one, it's tough because obviously this defense, like I said, we're not going to sugarcoat things. This is a bad defense. But if I had to pick the best newcomer, I'm going to take the easy way out. I'm going to go Travis J. I know he's been hurt a little bit. He did not play last year at all because of an academic issue with the class, which makes no sense to me with the NCAA. But yeah, man, I think again, it's his first year at Florida State actually playing in games. To me, and I know Freddie likes him. He's a Polk County boy, but man, that guy's going to be special. I think he'll be all ACC, if not all American, before he leaves Florida State. What do you think, TJ?
Yeah, I mean, I'd probably have to go there too. The defense has been so bad that it's hard to, there haven't been a lot of brand new difference makers. There haven't been a lot of difference makers at all. Maybe I could kind of cheat and say Kando since he wasn't, since
he's not a newcomer.
He's not really
far from a newcomer.
He's kind of a newcomer as far as putting a full season together, that's but other than that, I mean, yeah, it's Travis J for sure.
Freddie, where you at, man?
I'm gonna roll with Jay, but I do believe that Steven Diggs, as he gets experience, he'll end up being one of our top guys on the defensive side of the ball. I really think he has a bright future, and every week you see the progression he's making. So he's a guy I'm excited about as well.
Freddie's like me, man. We got those Central Florida guys. We gotta stand by him. He's from Dr. Phillips here in Orlando, so I'm a huge Steven Diggs Jr. fan. The next one that we have here is the biggest surprise on a positive note. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to steal everybody's answer here, but it's the offensive line, right? Like we did not think the offensive line would be even average this year, and we didn't expect them to be. But here we are, 6 games in, and they look good. Like not just average, they look like and I'm not trying to say they're on Georgia, Alabama level, but this is a unit that from the years previous we thought would be terrible, and they're more than holding their own. Freddie, like you never played behind an offensive line that looked this good. I don't think, did you?
Now we had some issues with
maybe 2013. Yeah, 13
5
yeah.
NFLers.
So let's remove 2013 from the discussion.
14 was good too, but
14
the years after that we started struggling, and I think the year after I left it got bad. And super bad. Like we had some struggles, but by the end of the season, you would always see us get better. These last few seasons, these teams, they were struggling the entire season and they weren't getting any better. So going into the season, that's what we were expecting, to see another horrible offensive line and have the defense pick us up. But they stepped up, and I mean, it's been great for us. Our offense is putting up points now. Like I can't knock it.
Yeah, they're putting up a lot of yards, so the points they're going to come eventually. But those yards are still every week by week. The offense is doing what they need to do. TJ,
just to clarify, what is the superlative? I got so distracted with you slandering 2013's offensive line.
So I said biggest positive surprise is what we have.
I mean,
here.
Yeah, I'll go in a different direction. I mean, I'll probably give him like 5 things, but Jordan Travis, didn't start the year. Nobody was calling for him to start the year, right? Like we all said it was Purdy, and we all wanted to know, like, oh, once Purdy got hurt, like, can Tate do anything? Nobody was saying anything about Travis, and he's come in, and we don't win the North Carolina game without Travis. We don't win the Jacksonville State game without Travis. We don't look respectable against Notre Dame without Travis. And so. Yeah, it's got to be him. I think the offensive line's been very good. I'm very pleasantly surprised with how they've played, but Travis has been the spark that the team needed to get the 2 wins that they've got. So, we'll see how he holds up in the second half of the year, but yeah, I think it's him.
Yeah. And I think it's very complimentary, right? Like that offensive line looks better because of Travis, and Travis looks really good because his offensive line looks like they know what they're doing. So it's a beautiful thing to see as a Florida State fan, even though we're 2-6 or 2-4, that we haven't seen we haven't seen like competency in the offensive line in years. So it's awesome. So the next one, now we got to get into a little bit of negatives, unfortunately, but this is superlatives. So the biggest disappointment, I know where I'm going, but I'll go last here. I'll let Freddie go first.
I hate singling guys out, but this guy, I had all super high expectations for him coming into the season. It's on the opposite side of the ball. Warren Thompson, I thought that's a guy with his ability. He can do everything in the book if he decided to put his mind to it. Like, you see there's something there just not clicking for him. And it's upsetting because he could take this offense to a completely different level if he just bought in. And that's a guy, I hope he figures it out. But for me, he's been the biggest disappointment.
What are you, TJ?
Yeah, I think it's the entire defensive line. This was supposed to be a strength of the team. Pro Football Focus and several national guys, Cole Kubelik with the SEC Network, and just guys all over the place were, Barrett Sallee. I'm trying to think back of who else, maybe Staples. I can't remember.
Everybody.
But,
everyone thought.
Yeah, everybody was just saying this was, top 4 or 5 defensive line in the country, maybe the best, one of the best in the ACC between us and Clemson, so, man, just total disappointment. I think they've shown some improvement, and they've done some things well to start, but that's definitely really the whole defense has been a disappointment. So I don't know. I could probably go on and on here, but the defensive line is got to be the top. That was supposed to be the strength of the team, and they've, for a defense that hasn't been very good. They might have been the worst part of it. It might have been behind the secondary even. So, D-line for me.
Yeah, I have to co-sign both of you. Heading into this question, my answer was with you, TJ, the defensive line, like no individuals, because with Marvin coming back and then Cooper and Dirt and then Kando and Janoris Robinson supposed to take the next step. And we just haven't seen it outside of that first half against North Carolina. And hopefully we get to see it towards the tail end of the season, because if that defensive line plays anywhere close to expectations, that's the difference between 2 wins and maybe 6 wins. Like, I don't think either one of those is going to be what's the most likely outcome, but there's opportunity there. I think it's the defensive line as a whole, because again, it's not any individual. Marvin's played great the past few weeks, but he did not show up the first few weeks. Kando had that huge play against North Carolina, and then he doesn't show up at all against Louisville. So it sucks, because we know we have talented players that have the ability, and they've shown it, but they're not doing it on a week-to-week basis. So I think that's something that, hopefully they can come into that. And then the last truly negative one, and guys, you can get creative with this, and we don't need to call out guys by individual names, but we are doing superlatives. We are doing superlatives. CJ, name names if you want. I have a lot of names in my mind, but I'm gonna do a blanket statement. But class clown, Freddie, who's the class clown, man, for this team? Again, you don't have to name a name, but there's a lot of activity that is pretty clownish on this program right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna just say the class clowns on the defensive side of the ball. I'm gonna hint at that. He's a guy that he's been here for a while and just struggled making plays on the field, and doesn't have the instincts that you need at his position. He's one of those guys. I'm not gonna call him out. I've called him out before on the show, so he struggled, but we found ways to replace him and get some of the younger guys in there. So it is what it is. He's just a guy. Some guys, they try as hard as they can. It just isn't for everybody. So we got that fixed, and hopefully these young guys step up.
I'll piggyback off you, and then I'll throw it to TJ. But my class clown is anybody on the defense that wants to celebrate making a tackle 5 yards downfield, or the quarterback just throws an errant pass and the receiver had no chance of catching it, and you go and wag your finger or do the incomplete sign like you made a play when you didn't do shit on that play. So I'm sorry, but that's just it's infuriating to me on a week-by-week basis. Like, I love this team and I love these players, but when a receiver beats you by 10 yards and the quarterback just throws an uncatchable ball and you celebrate like you did something, stop that. You are all the class clowns. I'm done with everybody on defense who does that. Celebrate a big play like Kando against North Carolina, the pick 6. Amazing play. Celebrate that. Do not celebrate breaking up a pass or tackling a guy 10 yards downfield. That just it is so frustrating. TJ, tell me I'm wrong.
You're not wrong. But what I'll say is worse than that is when they wag their finger after a DPI. That is, to me, like, there is nothing that makes me want to break my TV more than seeing that. Yeah, I'll go class clown. I go class clown DJ Matthews, who is no longer with the program. I don't want to call anybody else out by name, but I'll just go with him since he's not here anymore. But yeah, I kind of agree with Richie as well on the defensive backs. Or
sorry, I had to get it off my chest. But the next one, yeah, man, it was, and it still is. But the next one, the most likely to succeed, we're going back to positive. So most likely to succeed in I spent specifically NFL. Man, I don't know where to go from here. I think I'm gonna take the cop out, the easy answer. Asante Samuel. That guy's a stud, man. He shuts down half of the field on defense. He is just so good. You have a better chance of having a higher quarterback rating on Pro Football Focus by throwing the ball on the ground every single play than throwing against Asante Samuel. So I'm taking the easy out here. Freddie, where you at?
Yeah, that's tough because I was gonna take him too. And it's some of our guys that I was looking at, they're younger guys, so you still got to see more out of them before you can make that decision. So yeah, at this point, I would have to say Asante with his body of work, he's proven it in the league. He's going to be able to move around and play a few different positions, so he's going to give himself opportunity to make some money and be successful at the next level.
For sure.
I mean, I'll go Terry. You know, I think
that's a good one. No, that's a really good one.
On offense, he's probably one of only a few that will be there. I mean, it's so early, but you know, Toafili has flashes, but it's hard to project that at this point. Yeah. But yeah, I'll cop out and go Terry on offense.
So I stole these next two from one of my favorite sports podcasts, part of my take from the Barstool Network. They have a thing called, cool throwing hot seat, cool throwing hot seat. And it's one of those things, like, I want to talk about our coaches because we need to discuss this. So cool thrown, who has the most job security of any Florida State assistant right now? I think we all have the same answer, and I'm not going to take it. So I'll let TJ start it.
I mean, would it be Atkins? I mean, like, certainly he's not going anywhere, right?
Yeah, it has to be Atkins. That's what I was teeing you all up for.
The miracle here. I was trying not to overthink it. Like, wait, am I like missing somebody?
No,
what's going on?
No, you are spot on, TJ. And I think Freddie's with us too. Unless Freddie, do you think is Atkins the guy as far as assistants, or is there somebody else you're kind of eyeing?
No, we talked about it earlier. This offensive line has been horrible for the past few years, and now they're one of the bright spots of this team. So shout out to Coach Atkins. He's done a great job with these guys.
Yeah, and I'll just co-sign you guys, and I'll throw an honorable mention to Papuchis. Like, that special teams has been really good this year, and I know he coaches defensive ends as well, so that's why I didn't, put him over Atkins. But man, that he's been phenomenal in what Mike Norvell's asked of him to do. And then we go to the hot seat, which again, I think we're all going to be on the same page here. Nobody can be on a hotter seat than Adam Fuller right now. And I'm not into firing coaches 6 games into a season, but he needs to do something this year, like really soon, because it's been an embarrassment. We've given up more yards every single week than the previous week, and it's not getting better. So Freddie, like, obviously I think you're going to co-sign Adam Fuller, but at the same time, like, can we fix this?
Shoot, that's just, I hope so. Like, I'm feeling about that how I felt about the offensive line. Like, I don't know at this point. Like, every game is, even the North Carolina game, we look back at the numbers like, oh, we thought we played better, but when we look back at these numbers, goddamn. So I don't know. Hopefully we figure something out. I mean, when we look back at the past 2 weeks, I will say the defensive line, they even look better against Louisville. They were getting creative penetration. Guys weren't making plays. So we saw that, but I had a major issue with us playing these guys 30 yards off, these speedsters, and just letting them run and get We can't do that against guys that the athletes that have at Louisville, they're from Florida as well, so they can run, and that's a big game for them. They played against a lot of these guys. I didn't understand a lot of that.
And we'll get into it on the second half of this podcast, but thank God, man, outside of Clemson, we don't play another offense like Notre Dame, North Carolina, Miami, or even people that have the talent that Louisville has. So TJ, where you are you with Fuller, or is there somebody else you want to, put on notice just in case?
Yeah, I think it's Fuller, but I think there are other coaches that have underperformed for a while, and Fuller's like the easy target, but don't crucify me for this, FSU fans. But
Odell,
yeah, we've got to get better on the D line. We got to get better at wide receiver. And I get that, you've got FSU legends coaching there, and it's difficult to say that, but I mean, there's still got to be improvement. I don't care if it was Bobby coaching those positions, right? So I'm not saying those guys need to go. I'm not quite on the Post and Grimes train just yet, but there's still got to be improvement there, right? Like whether it's no matter how the improvement comes, losing Terry obviously hurts, but wide receivers have to improve, and D-line was, again, supposed to be the strength this year, and it just looks terrible, and that has to improve too. So, but yeah, it's definitely Fuller.
So, and we'll finish this on a positive note. We talked about doing some Halloween costumes. I think we'll skip those because, Halloween was last night. Everyone had their fun, and we don't want to upset anybody with the costumes we've picked. But the last one we want to do, and I'll go first just because I'm taking the easy cop out. MVP of the first 6 weeks, it's Jordan Travis, man. It's got to be. He's been the guy that came in and turned around this season for Florida State. Without Jordan Travis, we could legitimately be looking at an 0-11 season. And he gives me hope that we can go, 5-6, potentially 6-5. So I'm stealing him before I let you guys answer. But for me, it's Jordan Travis. That's a no-brainer. What do you think, Freddie?
Yeah, player-wise, you got to go with Jordan Travis, but I'm gonna go against the grain right here. I'm Coach Atkins, man.
I love it. Yes, I love that, Freddie.
Line has been garbage the past few years, man. Now we look good. We're running the ball. We're playing physical football on the opposite side of the ball. I'm all with it, man. When you can run the ball, that dictates everything. So what he's done with this offensive line past few years, I know DeAndre Francois, those guys, they wish they would have the offensive line like this because they got hit. So the job he's done has been tremendous.
Yeah. Atkins been phenomenal. TJ, what do you think, man?
Yeah, I think the easy call here is Jordan Travis. Want to give a little love to Coach Norvell. I think not only was Jordan Travis instrumental in that North Carolina win, Coach Norvell coached his tail off in that game. Speaking specifically about the timeouts at the end of the first half, we don't win the game if we don't score that last touchdown before the half. Yeah. And then the decision to go with Travis in the Jacksonville State game. So, Travis is still definitely the MVP, but I think that Coach Norvell has, put Travis in the position to be able to be successful and allow him to be that on the field MVP. So I'll give Coach Norvell some love. He's dealt with a lot of things that no coach has ever dealt with. Getting the virus, having to sit out against the biggest rival on the schedule, a shortened off season, a weird season itself, not being able to have visits, and just like the weirdest college football season ever at a top program of all time. And I think he's kind of, the record's not real pretty. Obviously, we'd like to beat Louisville to get to 500, but 2-4 doesn't look real good. But I think that he's a big part of the reason that we have the 2 wins we have. So I'll go split decision, co-MVPs with Norvell and Travis.
Yeah. And the last one we have.
Real politicians answer here on election week.
So the last superlative I have, and I'm excited about this because I want to hear what you, TJ, and Freddie think. Because like we said, we've been doing this for 3 months, and now we have a billboard in Tallahassee. That's wild. What's been your favorite episode so far since we started this podcast? So, TJ, I'll start with you and then go to Freddie.
Oh man, I was just gonna have to look through them real quick to see.
Freddie, we'll start with you.
Yeah, Freddie, you go first. This is so hard. They're like your children, man. Like, do you like Elena or Brian better? I'm like,
I don't have kids, so I'm good. I can make decisions.
Mine is easy. Definitely Monroe. It's not often.
Oh, Freddie, that was my answer.
You have to go into the dictionary and get everything together, make sure you don't mess up. I heard him talk. I was like, God damn, man, I don't know what the hell he said. Like, I went and did my research and everything after that. But yeah, definitely Monroe, man. He represents the program great, and just what he's doing in the change, impact lives in the world is amazing to see. So I'm glad to call him a no.
So Freddie, I'll jump on that, man. Myron, but by far my favorite. I'm a somewhat intelligent guy, but I've never felt less smart than when we were interviewing Myron Roll and just hearing him talk about everything. I'm like, my goodness, I what am I doing with my life? This guy's a neurosurgeon, All-American, Florida State football player. But I got to shout out our guy last week, man, Mark Ziegler. Like he was awesome. He was by far my favorite professor when I went to Florida State. I was lucky enough to get into his class because anybody that went to Florida State knows trying to get into his class is tough. Like Freddie, maybe not for you because you got that football player status, so you're able to, someone sign up for those classes early for you. But for me, I'd heard about him, I knew about him, I took his class. He's now become a lifelong friend of mine. Like we don't talk regularly or anything, but I see him almost any Florida State game I go to, and he's always just so gracious and such uplifting. And if you listen to our last podcast with him, you would see like he's such a good guy, man. He loves Florida State more than anybody loves Florida State. And having him last week was so much fun for me. What about you, TJ?
I have to take it. I've got election week, so I can't give a straight answer. A tie between the Instant Reaction podcast after UNC, which she was lit, and you should go back and listen to it. And I love the Myron Roll one, but man, the first episode I'm the biggest DeMarcus Walker fan ever. And we're not close like him and Freddie are close, but we're buddies. Like I text, like I'm still like in awe. And I thought Andy Staples was really, really good. It was just the excitement of a new podcast, and we had no clue what we were doing at that point. But we got on here and we did it. So I think that's what I'm going to listen to on the way to work tomorrow is kind of listen to like what it was like on that first episode. Probably all of us cutting each other off and not knowing how to, like, no chemistry between us.
Yeah, we had no idea what
Bob
we were
and
doing,
weave,
any of us.
and no Bob and weave like we've got going now. But I loved that first one with those guys. I love the start. But Myron was awesome. Obviously, he's like so many of them have been fun. The fullback episode was hilarious. The funniest one we've done is the fullback episode, without a doubt. But so many of them are great. Like you said, it's like your kids. The Louisville preview was great. Because we had so much hype. Like we all thought we were
gonna blow them out. Like it'll be easy win.
The Georgia Tech preview was great. We were asking this kid Segura, like, how are you guys even gonna stay on the field with us? So I don't know. Go back and listen to all of them because they're
got to go back to that and realize that he didn't think they had a chance to win either.
Man, if we can get a couple turnovers, keep this thing close. Oh man.
What a wild ride. In just 3 months. I love it. Like I love doing this podcast with you guys. My wife loves it. All my friends love it. So man, I'm having a blast.
No, I am too. Before we get into we got a YouTube question here from Rod Watts, and I'm going to answer that in just a second. This is the radio business, what you call a teaser. If you're watching this, if you could retweet it, share it, tag a friend, post a link, however you can do it, share in a group message, we would certainly appreciate it. If you could follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Patreon, it's all Double Fries Pod. Subscribe on YouTube, Double Fries No Slaw, and we would appreciate it. We've got a couple of callers we're going to jump to real quick, bring them on. Let's chat with them for a few minutes.
Let's go.
And then we will get into the second half of the show, get this wrapped up. You guys can go watch some Sunday Night Football, and we'll get out of here. So let me add our first caller here, connecting to audio.
Oh, there he is.
We've got Wilson.
What's up, young
Lemieux.
blood?
There he is, Wilson.
Wilson Lemieux of the Lemieux Company sponsors Freddie's Extra Sauce segment. There is no Extra Sauce segment this week because we didn't play, but there will be one next week after we hopefully beat Pittsburgh. Wilson, how you doing tonight?
Doing good, man. Just trying to get all the earned media I can since we don't have Freddie's segment this week. I got to show up any way I can. So, how you boys doing?
We're
good, man. We just
I'm doing
we just
good,
went through
man.
some superlatives and looking toward the second half of this year. Hopefully a little better than this first half was.
Yeah, no, man. It's crazy. Tuesday is going to be crazy too. So, it's just a wild and woolly week for sure. So, what do you guys think about Pittsburgh? Do you think that we're going to what do you think is going to happen? I have no idea. There's no consistency with the football
So I
team.
spent the last few days like just flooding Dan Marino's DMs because I really wanted Dan Marino on this podcast, and I know he's not coming. But man, he was my favorite quarterback when I was a little kid. But yeah, Pitt, I think they have a really good defense and they have a really bad offense. I've not made my decision. I think TJ knows where he's leaning. I'm not sure about Freddie on the score predictions. But I'm not ready to pick this game, but I think it'll be a good game. I'm excited for it. It's Florida State football during a pandemic. We didn't think this was happening. I'm pumped for it.
Oh, for sure.
ESPN gives, and Richie hates me for bringing up FPI every week, but he brought it up first this year and introduced me to it, so I don't really care. Florida State has a better chance to beat Pittsburgh than any other team, according to FPI, than any other team that's left on the schedule, right? And the only reason because of that is because we played Duke on the road. Duke's pretty bad too. So,
Duke's terrible.
If we're going to win a game the rest of the year, we better win. We better win this one, and I'm not saying that, I mean, there's a chance you could, but I think that Florida State will be, I mean, we'll preview it pretty hard on Thursday and go into a lot more, but I mean, Pittsburgh just lost to Notre Dame 45-3. I think why we struggled with Louisville was because their strength was our strength, right? Like our strength was the offense, their strength was offense, and they're just a lot better at that. And Pittsburgh is not a good offensive team. And so I think that we are going to be able to score on them, and our defense isn't great, but I think our defense will do okay. We're a 0.5-point favorite right now. So
Are we really?
We'll see.
Oh my God.
See kind of how that holds up, but it's essentially a
Oh my
pick 'em.
God, are we really?
So
Well,
I don't know. I think we win.
So how's this work? Do I get like one question and then a bounce, or like
No,
am I
we're just
automatically
hanging
a
out,
co-host now? Or
Bro,
okay,
you're a sponsor. You hang out with us. Come on.
well, so I do have one question, and it kind of goes to Freddie, and it's like kind of layered. I want to make sure I got my facts right. So Freddie, you came into the program, 2013, right?
Yeah,
So it was hopping your freshman year.
without a doubt.
So you were here, 13, 14, 15, and then were you here 16 or no?
Yeah, I was 16 was my last year.
Okay. So right after you left, everything kind of went to hell in a handbasket. And so you were able to see the program at the top, and then right before the decline became super evident. And I don't know how much detail you can give me or how much you can actually say to this, but being on a team like Florida State, kind of from its peak, some would even say it's the best that it ever was, to kind of right there with Dalvin's last game. Were you able to see and tell that the vibe had shifted and that things were kind of not meshing like they were back in 2013? What was that like? Were you able to see that decline happening? And if so, what was that like? And then further, what are some telltale signs that a program's picking back up to get back to where it can hum?
Okay. I think from 2013 to 2014, you saw a drop just from the mentality of the team. On paper, we believe that in 2014 we had a better team than the 2013 team did, but that mindset of 2013 was it was different. In 2014, that was a team, a lot of guys had won that championship the year before, so we felt like it was going to come easy. We didn't put in the same work. Guys weren't as hungry, and you just saw it. That 2013 season, everybody was focused on getting better. And it's crazy, we didn't even talk about the championship, like winning that championship. We knew that was the goal, but we were just focusing on getting better each and every day. 2014, we knew we were in trouble because we started paying attention to media. Like we had this whole thing. Season started out in Dallas. And so we're like, Dallas to Dallas. The college football playoffs is going to be in Dallas, and we're starting off playing Oklahoma State in Dallas. And that's when I knew, I was like, man, we done bought into the hype, man. I don't know how this is going to go. And we started the game off hot. We started blowing them out. So we were like, all right, this thing. Then they started getting in our ass. And every game that season, teams were doing that. And we could flip that switch, but you saw the inconsistencies in how we trained in the off season, how dedicated guys were. When we played Oregon, everything caught up with us finally because that was a team. They put in work and they can score fast. And if you gave them opportunity, they were going to expose you. And that's exactly what happened. So fast forward to 2015 and 2016, you now got guys, they seen some of that success in 2013 and 2014. And now they just think it just happens. And guys don't want to come in and put that work and they think it's just going to be easy. And then us as leaders, it's tough because you want to groom these guys into these roles because you know they're going to have to take over the program. But at the same time, you don't want to kill their confidence, make it to where they can't trust you, things of that nature. So it was kind of like, it was like pulling teeth at times. And then when we left, it just fell apart. So we saw it before it happened, but it was tough. We saw it coming though.
So Freddie, man,
go ahead.
As a fan, like, man, and maybe I'm just a complete homer, but that 2014 game against Oregon, I thought it was a lot closer than the score even indicated because I thought Jameis played really well. Obviously Dalvin was young and he had a couple costly fumbles, but if he doesn't fumble the ball there, and if Jameis gets in on that first drive in the game, I think y'all beat Oregon. I don't know if you beat Ohio State because they were freaking good, man. But that game, was that not a lot closer than the score indicated, Freddie?
I think on our side it may have seemed, but on the sideline, I don't ever believe that we could stop Oregon. Just from us, I didn't see a defense that could stop them. Defense didn't prove to me that they could stop Oregon that whole game. So once we got stopped on offense, like the whole season, like this warrior mentality was like, shit, I don't know, they putting up points. So that was the first time I was like, man, I don't know, we got to score soon. And that's when all those turnovers started happening and they got ugly.
Yeah. And when we went to the half in that game, I'll go to my grave thinking that we were a lot closer in that game than we were. Now, the second half obviously got out of hand, but we went to the half down 13-18 and had a lot of things go wrong. Like every break that could go their way did, right? Like Jameis got stopped on the 4th and 1. That's 7 points there. First drive of the game, Nick O'Leary got pulled down on a pass to the end zone. That's 4. We kicked the field goal. That's 4 points there. Roberto had been so clutch for 2 years, missed a field goal. Rashad Green dropped a pass on an out route. That would have made that field goal a little bit closer. Jalen dropped a pick in the first half. I mean, we legitimately could have been up by 14, 17 points in the first half. Now, we weren't. I am playing the if game, but I'm not playing the if game. We weren't, right? Like they outplayed us. But like I went into the half thinking, man, if we clean those little things up, we can win this going away. And I mean, heck, if you just take one of those away, right? Like just Jameis getting stopped short, we go into the half with the lead. And so, like, I'm going to my grave thinking that we were like inches away from, to use a Jimbo quote, from beating them, even though we lost by 40.
God. This is one thing people don't know. O'Leary pulled his hamstring bad in warm-ups. Really? So he was out of there from the beginning of the game. That's why you didn't see him heavily featured in the game. Yeah. And that kind of hurt the offense a little bit as well when we were trying to make that run at the end of the game because we couldn't use one of our biggest weapons. People don't know this to this day. O'Leary pulled his hamstring and it was like super slick on that damn field, and something happened and he jerked it and it was bad. We didn't know if he was going to be able to play, but he fought through it and got out there on the field. That's what Nick does. Well, he's a dog.
Well, shout out to him. And Freddie, I'm just going to say for a future episode reference, we need to get him like in the next week for the Masters because obviously I don't know if you heard this or not. You probably never heard this before, but he is Jack Nicklaus's grandson.
Freddie wasn't watching the TV like we were, so he probably didn't hear it as many times as we did.
That's true.
Like 17 times a game.
You got to get DeMarcus and Nick O'Leary on here. We got to try to get them on at the same time because DeMarcus would always mess with him about Tiger Woods being better than his granddad, and Nick hated it.
I love it. Man, so Freddie, I'm a huge golf fan, and I love that because it's always like Jack is the GOAT, and then is Tiger the GOAT. But man, they were both phenomenal. Like you can't compare them because they played in two different eras. It's kind of like LeBron and MJ, right? They played in two different eras. You can't compare them. But they were both phenomenal.
except LeBron.
No,
is better.
MJ's the GOAT. Come on, TJ. Come on.
He's the GOAT against Plumbers, for sure.
TJ, do you say that because LeBron's a Laker, or did you believe that when he was at the Cavs?
That's a great question.
I believe that his last 2 years of the Cavs. But I would have put MJ ahead. So, all right, not to get into this whole debate. I mean, LeBron is.
We're going Jordan versus LeBron on double fries.
I was going to say, this is exactly what they're tuned in for. LeBron is, to me, LeBron is the greatest athlete that's ever lived. Like, just pure athlete. Like, I'm talking like strength, speed, agility, durability, like of all the athletes, right? Like, so your guys like Bo Jackson, Deion Sanders, like all of those guys, right? LeBron is number one to me. So is Michael a better shooter? Yes. Like but like as far as efficiency and completeness and stuff, like I'm probably saying that LeBron is he was a better player for longer. I need a new podcast. I don't really take into account the 6-0 because like Michael didn't only play 6 seasons. There were a lot of seasons that Michael's season ended before the finals, which those count too, so like finals record doesn't really mean anything. Like when I just watch the two players, like to me, LeBron was like, he just passes the eye test. Like I've never seen such a freak of nature in any aspect of any, so
he's
like
phenomenal. He is phenomenal. Yeah.
I mean, but it's not like Jordan's just trash. Like I'm not one of these guys that like
Jordan's better, but
really
LeBron was
close.
phenomenal.
Jordan's a better shooter. Other than that, like LeBron's just better at everything else.
Here's why I love LeBron though. His favorite college receiver, Peter Warrick.
Yep.
Yeah.
Peter Warrick. So you mean he's a Noel at heart. You know what I mean? Like you've got to believe that he's a Noel fan. But what Jordan has going for him, and I'm going to tie all this back because I do have like one more question. But Jordan transcends athletics. There's not another athlete that does that. And not even LeBron, honestly. Jordan created this Jordan brand that I think grosses more than the entire Nike brand in general. Yeah. And Jordan came in at the right time. No one else, maybe Tiger, but nobody else outside of Tiger has been able to transcend athletics and stay almost squeaky clean. Jordan had some stuff going on, but like, I think that Jordan transcends sports. Jordan is bigger than basketball. Jordan's bigger than his shoes. Jordan's bigger than any one sport, period. And I think that that's what makes him the GOAT. And I don't think anybody else could do that.
I also think
The Last Dance for me, The Last Dance, man, I was done. Like that sold me on everything. I already thought Jordan was the GOAT, but like my wife, who's not a big sports fan,
you watch Jordan propaganda, and that solidified you saying that Jordan was better.
Well, no.
Like Jordan put that together.
Saying, like my wife is like, she's not a sports fan, but she watched the Last Dance, and granted, it's 2020, it's a pandemic, been a shit show. But man, like that, if you can't watch that series and come away thinking Jordan, man, it's the greatest ever. And I do. And no disrespect to LeBron, because I think he's a great player, but he's not Jordan, and he never will be. And he'll never come close, in my opinion. Freddie, what do you think, man? Like you've been kind of quiet on this topic.
One thing I will say, I know you said The Last Dance, but give it about 20, 25 years, LeBron gonna have one, and we hear about his training regimen in the off season.
Yeah.
So you may change your mind. Like this,
no, my mind will never change, Freddie.
He's been doing this for all this time, and he's stayed healthy all these years, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. You can't sleep on LeBron. Me personally, I got to see a little bit of Jordan, not much.
Yeah. But
shoot, I'm going with LeBron, man. Listen, everybody, you feel me? Everybody he around, he makes better.
Hey, Wilson.
Everybody
can't be mad at that.
LeBron being that assassin like Kobe and LeBron to drop 50 and patch the ball out for the last play of the game because he sees an open guy, and then they kill him for that. He just dropped 50. So I don't know. You can't. LeBron can't win.
That is unfair because I'm on the same page, Freddie. Like I think you got to take that shot, but at the same time, you're giving a better shot to a teammate. So it's tough for me because I think you have to take that shot if you're LeBron every single time. Yep. But man, if you pass it off and they don't make it, that's got to be on you.
LeBron is the smartest basketball player that ever lived because he doesn't do exactly what Richie just said. Like Kobe hit a lot of game winners, and I'm wearing my championship hat tonight, right? Like, so I've seen every.
Kobe's big
but like
fan right here saying this, man. So you know,
right? But LeBron, right? Yeah, I named my son after him, right? Like, but LeBron makes the right play every single time, right? Kobe took a lot of bad shots. He hit a lot of bad shots, but LeBron makes the right play every single time. Wilson was right, though. The reason that Jordan will always be the GOAT is not only because of all of the off the court stuff, the brand, the logo, everything else. It's because he's the measuring stick, right? Like he is what you come. If LeBron would have come first, it'd be the same way the other way. Because when you're comparing it's the same.
Stop it.
Absolutely.
Stop
Let me
it,
make my point.
TJ.
Let me make my point.
It.
How do I mute
Stop
Richie?
it.
Mute Richie. If LeBron came first, he would then be the measuring stick. Just like, I mean, I hate to say this, no wide receiver will ever be better than Peter Warrick at Florida State. And there's a reason for that. He was the measuring stick. He was the one that we'll compare him to. And you look at that in any situation, there's people that still have a tough time right now saying that Brady's better than Montana. And it's like, dude, how can you, but Joe did it for blah, blah, blah. That's just how it works. If LeBron would have come first, he would have that legacy. He would have that brand. He would have the shoes. He would be the one that we modeled. He'd be the one you watched a documentary on this summer. And so that's kind of, I mean, that's just how it works. But
Well, I mean,
it's gonna get real weird when LeBron wins the next two and has 6 titles, because then it's just like, all right, well, now what do we do?
Well, but if you plot LeBron now into the league in the 90s, right?
Oh my God, he wins
he's
9
so much
straight.
bigger. He's so much bigger than all those
Right.
guys. I mean, it's like Freddie out there playing.
nah, LeBron 6'7".
Oh man.
Ain't really no help out there.
Well, guys, thank y'all for letting me come in. I think the last question I have is, I know that we said progress isn't linear, but brother, I mean, here's UNC, and like way back there is Louisville. At what point do we actually see consistency? And to cut Norvell slack, do you think that he has all the right pieces yet?
So I think Wilson, we need to flip the roster. We have a lot of players on this team that they don't know success. The only success they've ever seen was that win over North Carolina, and they don't know how to respond to that success, because that I think that's the biggest issue. And we saw that against Louisville, and beating Pitt is a big step. Like, I think we will beat Pitt, and that's a huge step for the team. But at the same time, like, they're not where they need to be at. And I think the hard pill to swallow for Florida State fans, we're not going to be where we expect to be for probably another 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
I think I said it a few weeks ago, man. Learning from it, you have to learn from failure, but it's just as important to be able to handle success. And I think that's clearly what we saw last week against Louisville. And I'm gonna take this opportunity to pick on our guys down south. You see it every year when the past few years when Miami would beat us. They would beat us, and then they would just completely shit away the rest of the season. And all you would hear their fans say is, "Oh well, we beat Florida State," and that's what it seemed like how we approach the game. Like, oh, we beat a top 5 team. No, like every week is a different week. You got to consistently get better. And I think, we do have to flip the roster, and we have to change this culture as well, because although we beat UNC and you've seen some strides, our defensive line has played a little bit better the past 2 weeks. You still see some guys that are fighting it, the inconsistencies on the field, guys not being technically sound, discipline, like our discipline's still all over the place. We still got a lot of room to grow. So we still got to flip. Still got to flip the roster. Culture is still struggling. We still get these penalties throughout the game. It's going to be a process, and it's going to be 2 to 3 years, like I said. And fans have to understand that. Like, we can't just every coach we get run them out the door. Because I watched film on Memphis before the season, and Norvell's a guru on the offensive side of the ball. Like, the stuff he does to create, like, we had a guy on there early in the season was talking about the things that Norvell does to be able to run the football. I saw Norvell. I don't know if somebody else did it before, but he ran a damn counter. He pulled the guard, and the guard countered back side. Like, I've never seen that before. Like, I'm gonna try to pull the clip up, but it happened with Memphis. I was like,
coming soon on Freddie's Extra Sauce, brought to you by Wilson Lemieux.
Like, fans, y'all gotta chill. Like, just let him get some time, because he really be in his bag. I was watching Memphis. I was like, yo, we got this dude. And I tweeted it last year. I was like, yo, I never seen this before. And then he becomes our coach. And then it came back to me that it was him. So we're in good hands with him, I believe. I just think everybody wants to jump the box and look for negatives all the time. Of course, we got some areas that we can improve in, but I believe he's our guy. We can shake some stuff up on the staff, I believe, but other than that, I think we got a head coach.
Well, and I think too, a lot of people want to talk about what Jimbo did from 2010 to 2013, but people do realize he was here from 07 to 13. So, he had 6 years really, because and some of y'all were actually there during it, right? I'm like, sophomore.
Unfortunately, I was, yeah.
So,
by the way, I love the Palace shirt, Wilson.
Thanks, man. It's a coffee shop here in town. You know what I mean?
No, it's the Palace in Tallahassee.
Okay, cool, dude. But all that being said, Jimbo had 3 years under Bobby Bowden. Didn't they make a Jimbo rule after Jimbo switched from head coach in waiting to head coach that like you couldn't do that anymore for recruiting purposes? So so Jimbo was bringing in his guys for 3 years before he ever started the 2010 season. I think that, if we're being realistic, and I know that we didn't give Taggart very long at all, but like I do see a huge difference in terms of attention to detail, all of that kind of stuff. I'm excited to see what Norvell looks like once he has his first like full team, and maybe that is 2023. But I think that a lot of it is this loser blood, somewhat kind of mentality. And I'm not up. Everybody on that football team could whoop my ass, right? Like I wouldn't make Waterboy on the team. But we talked about none of those guys know how to succeed. The seniors on this team were on the sidelines when y'all played Michigan, right, Freddie? So the only success they've seen is y'all's success, not their own. Mm-hmm. And so I don't know, man. I'm ready for it to start looking up, but we'll have to sit in the pocket and wait a little bit. Good thing that we have stuff like your show to keep us going. And by the way, I just want to say the amount of like star talent you guys bring on here from like old school players or, not so old school players or people coming in from Memphis. I know you guys did it first before the 24/7 guys. What you're able to bring to the table is the most impressive thing about your podcast. Y'all's connections to real Seminoles and how they're always on the show is really impressive. So you guys keep up the good work, and thank y'all for letting me sponsor. It's worth every penny.
Sir,
we appreciate you, man. That's awesome. I love that.
All right, you guys be good. Go Noles.
Go Noles, man. Thank you so much.
He's awesome, man. Love Wilson.
No, he's awesome. So we got one more caller. Let's jump to him, see if it connects well. Looks like the audio's connecting. The video's there. The audio's coming.
There he is. Scott.
We've got Scott. Man? Hold on. The audio's not there. Now it's there. Scott, how's it going, man? Can you hear us?
He's out that Cromartie Wi-Fi.
No, I think the Wi-Fi is good. The video looks good. Scott, can you hear us?
Yeah, I don't know, man.
I can't hear you, Scott.
Video's good. Video's good.
Video's good. You might be. Well, no, you ain't on mute because I can see if you were on mute. Oh, now we got somebody that's not Scott on here. We got two people.
Scott, man. We can see.
Hold on, they're trying to fix it.
There we go. I think we got him.
Good. Maybe not.
Maybe not.
Scott. Oh. Can we hear you now, Scott?
May have to just type this question up and we'll get to it.
TJ, you can answer the YouTube question while you're waiting.
Oh yeah, let's ask that while we are waiting on Scott right there. This is probably best for Freddie, but Richie, if you have any ideas or anything, the one thing I'm very disappointed in this season is the lack of halftime adjustments on offense and defense. Any thoughts there, Freddie? Scott, I see you talking there. I can't hear anything you're saying though, so maybe jump out and jump back in, Scott. I'm gonna maybe if you jump out and jump back in, maybe it'll work a little better. So just close it and re-click the link. Freddie, any thoughts there on halftime adjustments and the lack thereof?
Yeah, I think it was an issue, a major issue early on in the season. We saw it early on in the games. We had these first 15 plays on the opposite side of the ball would come out hot, and then in the second half, you would be like, where did that go at? And on the defensive side, I wouldn't even say halftime adjustments. We started off the game horrible from the jump on the defensive side, but on the offensive side, at the beginning of the season, we did struggle with making halftime adjustments. But I do think, even when you look at the UNC game, we came out in that first play we ran coming out of half, they made adjustments. They went in there and they saw the weaknesses that we could attack. And even in the UNC game, I think on the defensive side as well, we made some great adjustments. It's just, it was UNC. We still got a younger team and they making mistakes, but I think they made some adjustments that game. But Louisville, I don't even know what to tell you about that one. That one, I can't to see that transformation from UNC to Louisville to where we were playing aggressive, all in their face, to being a passive team. It just didn't make sense to me. So across the board, we got to do something about that because we didn't really put our defense in the position to be successful. Our defensive line came to play, and we didn't help them out.
See, I'm a little different than I don't care when the points come. I just want to see points. So those 31 against North Carolina in the first half, give me those all in the first half because I don't want to score 10 points in the first half and then 21 in the second half because this team, unfortunately, we're not built to come from behind. I don't think we are. That's where we are. And so I think for Florida State fans, that my message, the way I look at it personally, is don't be upset if, we score, 30 points in the first half and nothing in the second half. Just be excited we score 30 points because that's a great game. And I will say, Florida State, we drove down to the 5-yard line or better against Miami, Notre Dame, North Carolina, all in the second half in that first drive. So I don't think the second half offense is a problem. Obviously, we'd love to see more points. We'd love to see us make a field goal. That sounds ridiculous right now. We can't make a freaking field goal to save life. But I do think that this offense is good, man. With a healthy Jordan Travis, this offense is good. When he's limited, we're not a good offense, and we need to realize that. And we'll hope Chuba Purdy can get us there. TJ, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm going to disagree with that a little bit. Shocker with how we disagreed on everything tonight. But yes, if you were to tell me that, you are limited to 31 points, how do you want to score them? I mean, my answer would be I want touchdowns on the first 4 drives and then a field goal on the 5th drive, right? That's how I would answer it. The problem is in football, that's not how it works. You're not limited to 31 points. And so when you score 31 in the first half, you need to come out and score in the second half. So, because, the same way that you're not told you get 31 points, how do you want it? Because that's what the defense would ask for too. They would, if you would have asked North Carolina, how do you want them to score their 35? They would have said, get it out of the way early. Let me know that they're getting to 31 and stopping, and then we'll just score every time after that. All right. So they had a couple drops at the end. It didn't quite work out for them. But no, so in a perfect world where you knew exactly how many times you were going to score and how many points, sure, give them to me all to start. But if you score 31 in the first half, you've got to score again in the second half. It's the same exact thing that happened with Boise State last year. We scored 31 in the first half. We didn't score again in the second half. We got lucky this time that North Carolina dropped a couple of passes. If we got lucky last year and recovered a fumble, we probably win that game. So, yeah, you've got to score at least once. I thought going into the halftime, I put this in the Discord that we were chatting in, if we would have scored 10 points in the second half, the game would have been over. Honestly,
Yeah, for sure. Oh, for sure.
7 points in the second half, the game would have been over. But you've got to keep it competitive. If a team the second half knows, because their assumption is right, second half is we're not going to let them score again, right? Like we'll keep them from scoring, and that's how we'll come back. Well, that doesn't happen a lot of times. Usually, a team's going to find a way to score a touchdown or two or a field goal or two in the second half, and we've got to get better there. We've been really bad in the second half of games, and we've got to get better. Bad in the second half against Georgia Tech. Bad in the second half. Notre Dame, did we score in the second half? Did we score 7 or 10? They had kind of called off the Dogs, so I don't know how much I'm counting anything from the Notre Dame game. But bad in the second half against Louisville. Bad in the second half against North Carolina. Hopefully we improve that this weekend. But yeah, no, I know it's a shocker that I would disagree with Richie one more time today. Scott, we're going to try this again with it connected to the audio and see how it works. So hopefully this works a little bit better this time. I think it's working. How's it going, Scott?
Hey guys, how you doing?
Doing well, man.
All right. I had like a million questions I can ask you guys, but I guess being what you guys were talking about earlier, I'll go that way. So this is for Freddie.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, Freddie, how you doing? Good. All right. My question for you is, all right, we know all about Jameis from what we see. My question for you is, how was he in the huddle? How was he practice? We hear all these things about him, that he was just a total team motivator. I'm sure you could probably give us a bunch of insight as to how he was beyond what we saw on the field.
Yeah, earlier in the season we had meet on Coach Martin, and we kind of talked about it a bit. But yeah, I don't think people really understand it. I wish that we had Showtime around while Jameis was here so people could witness how he approaches the game. And guys that haven't been around winning players like that, they don't really understand. And you'll hear them all the time. They'll be like, oh, that guy's an asshole. But really, he's pushing you to the next level. And those are the type of guys you want to be around. Like Jameis, Telvin Smith, those type of guys. When you come in as freshman and you're not used to being around a winning culture like that, it kind of rubs you the wrong way. But that's what it takes to be successful. We talked about The Last Dance earlier, and you hear all these guys saying these same things about Jordan, but at the end of the day, what do they all say? How much they respect him. Because he rose their level of play. He challenged them each and every day. He never let them slip. And that's what Jameis was. Like, oh man, he's tripping today. But he knows, if you're at this level and you're playing down here, he's not going, man, you my homeboy. No, he expects you up here every day. He's going to hold you to that standard. He's not going to let you slack. And that's what type of player he was. And that's why we were so successful. Jameis was that guy. And he held himself to that same standard. Each and every day, all the work he put in, all the film study. Like if everybody could see the work he put in all outside of the field, like we saw what he did on the field, but outside of, you like, man, this dude was crazy. And it shows, like, he got everything he deserved and more. And he led that run, man. And that's what it's gonna take. Guys are gonna have to start having those uncomfortable conversations right now. Like, Jameis didn't care if he pissed you off. He wanted to win. And he knew if you were them all-American, he expected that out of you every practice. He didn't care if we were at them in just helmets. He expected it out of you. There's no time to chill. We're trying to get better. And I think that's where we're lacking there right now. Guys are scared. Like, they're cool outside of practice, and they want to still have that relationship. Man, Jameis cussing us out at practice, holding us to that standard, and we could still chill with him out there because we knew it was all love. We all came for one common goal, and that's what we're missing right now. You call these guys out, now they want to fight, and they don't want to be your friend now. So guys are kind of scared to have these conversations, but on successful teams, those conversations are had often.
Okay, well, that kind of leads. So now we're in this situation in 2020 where obviously we're having trouble winning. So at what point do we, or are we able to flip because we obviously keep on having these new guys come in, but they're seeing the way the culture is. So how does that eventually change?
Listen, I'm gonna go against the grain. A lot of people say the coach bringing in his culture, but you just gotta have a few crazy guys that come in with a mentality, like a winner's mentality. I remember when I came in, and I'm gonna piggyback off James. I came in, I early enrolled, and they were talking about the 2012 loss to NC State. Guys were talking about that the whole offseason. And I'm like, damn, I did watch that game last year. I don't know how y'all lost that. And James kept saying, like, that's not gonna happen with me. And everybody was like, yo, that whatever he said, he was willing to put in that same amount of work. It wasn't that he just believed that much in himself, but he knew he was going to put in that work. He made sure each and every one of us did it. Like, yo, it's not happening this year. We're not going to allow that to happen. And we got to have some guys that come in with that mentality. When things go wrong, he didn't allow it to creep in his mind that we were going to lose. And we all, that was our mentality because of James. Like, you follow your leader. That's really what it was. We knew we were never out of game. In that 2014 season, that team's identity was an identity of Jameis Winston. Like, we knew we were never out of the fight. So when we got down, we were like, yo, we got a soldier right there. We ride with him. We finna come back and win. We need some of those guys coming to Florida State right now. We ain't got enough of them.
Yeah. Freddie, I have to ask you, man, because we're there. Man, I was at that game in Pittsburgh. What was that like when he went 25 for 27? And one of his incompletions was Kenny Shaw. He caught the ball in bounds. Like, that was a bad call by ACC refs. We can talk about that all the time.
The other one was a drop, just for the record.
Yeah.
The other one was a drop.
But Freddie, what was that like, man? Because I was in the end zone watching that game in the stadium. Jameis was just dropping dimes left and right, man. What was that like, seeing that game in 2013?
It was unreal. I think early on in the game, guys were a little uneasy. It's first game of the year, and then we get down fast. So guys were a little bit uneasy. Guys really didn't, like, we're being honest, guys didn't really know. And then James put on that performance, and they were like, all right, okay, we ain't questioning them again. we know what we got back here. So it was crazy to see, especially him being that young. But when you see all the work he put in, it's not surprising. Like, but that moment, that's just what stars doing when the lights are on them, man.
Yes, sir.
And we're missing right now behind the scenes with our team is I don't know if guys are putting in that work behind the scenes. That's what we're missing. Like, James dedicated himself to this game. And when we were successful, that's how guys were. That's what Florida State football is. Guys dedicate themselves to the game. Of course, you're a student athlete, but all of us strive to go to the NFL one day. So you got to practice those good habits. And that's what he did. Like, we can bring hella guys on and they'll tell you about their study habits and how James helped them with them. Like, shoot, I wasn't finna watch film, but damn, now I gotta watch it. He cuts me out. Like, that's how he was. We need more guys to hold these players to a higher standard. You can't just expect the coach to do it. They can only do so much. Like this, we would always say, man, this team is only gonna be successful as the players want it to be. And when he showed us the right way to do it. So we knew, like we talked about it earlier on the show, we knew the years after he left when it was going downhill. Because when we were trying to do that with guys, they were fighting it. And I think that's what we're experiencing right now. Guys are still fighting it. It may be a few guys trying to speak up, but they're speaking up with the timid voices. You can't impact nobody like that. You got to step on a few toes right now.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And all right. So now fast forward to 2020. I don't know how much you guys have noticed, but a tradition has come back. As far as I'm pretty sure I saw this in warm-ups, and it just made me, I was like, I love Norvell. I love him. And we're doing it now where we march down the field during practice. And I believe that little things like that is because that's Florida State. I mean, we used to go to a game and, there's the team marching down the field. They get in the end zone, band plays the fight song, everybody's going nuts and, stuff like that. I was actually surprised Willie wasn't doing it because, God knows how big of a fan he is. But your thoughts on that?
I don't really to be honest. I don't really pay attention to that, to be honest. Like on the marching and everything, like because with Jimbo, all we did was shoot. We didn't do none of that. We just did our normal run out the tunnel. But we knew when it was time to run out that tunnel, we looked to the left, we looked to the right. It was like, man, I got a dog next to me. We finna go to war. So every team, man, they got their own thing. So I'm not finna kill somebody for what they do or don't do. I mean, as long as you got unity and you're willing to fight for the man next to you, that's all I'm for.
Right. Gotcha. And I've been following your videos there on Facebook, Freddie. You're doing a great job working out and keep up the great work. And hey, as always, go Knowles.
Yeah,
yeah, for me, man, like even going back to Freddie's days, like 2013 to 2016, I loved watching you guys, man. And it's so cool that I get to do a podcast with Freddie now, because like you were a big part, man, Freddie, of maybe I was already a big Florida State fan, but seeing like the way you carried yourself and the way the team carried themselves, like even in that really ugly Louisville game in 2016, y'all bounced back and beat Michigan in the freaking Orange Bowl. That's a huge deal. Like that for a Florida State fan, man, I cannot speak enough about how much I loved watching Florida State football, and even Freddie, you and Dalvin and DeAndre during that 2016 season, especially when we look at what we have now. Like TJ, you got to feel similar, right?
I mean, I hate cliches and stuff, but yeah, I mean, you when you're in the midst of it, like you don't really realize, like you just think you're on the mountain forever, right? Like you just, okay, well, we're rolling right now, and so we'll always be great. You know, how will the recruits ever stop? What will ever, like this is just always going to be, us being the greatest. And so yeah, looking back at it now, you're just like, man, those were awesome times. I think you do that with everything though, right? Like we look back at when the Bucks won the Super Bowl. We look back at when Kobe, when Shaq were playing. We look back at when this happened, when that happened. You look back at those. So same thing with FSU, but like when you're in the midst of it, like when the Bucks, beat the Raiders and then have everybody coming back the next year, you didn't think we were going to win 5 games, but we did, like I think we won 7 games, but like, it's kind of the same thing. Like you look back at Florida State now and, I mean, look at LSU, man. Like we at least won our first 13 games after that. I want to say we won something like, I don't know. We won 13, lost 1, then we won our next 5. So we won like 20 or 19 of 20 games after we won the national championship, right? I'm sorry, we won 18 of 20 games after we won the national championship. The loss to Georgia Tech and Oregon in there, right? And look at LSU right now, after winning their national title, and they're terrible. They just got boat raced by LSU this weekend, and they have
Auburn.
Nothing.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah, Auburn. So I don't know, but yeah, I went way off subject. But yeah, like looking back at it now, I mean, it definitely, I'm thankful for the times we had now for sure.
Absolutely, man. And that's kind of what we're at. Like 3 months ago, we didn't know if we'd have football. And like Mark Ziegler had, last week, a phenomenal guest. He's like, we at least get football this year. And that's a fact. Like we get football. We have the games aren't going the way we want them to go on a week-to-week basis. But at the same time, like, man, at least we have football. Like there's a pandemic going on and we still have football. And at the same time, we all, every Saturday we have like, we have our group chat and Sundays, especially for Freddie, he's like, man, what are we betting today? But like, we didn't think we'd have that 3 months ago and we have it right now. So let's enjoy it. The season is not going to go the way that we predicted it would in our preseason show. But at the same time, we have football. Let's enjoy it.
Yep, I agree. I'll tell you what, I'm not afraid to say it, but one thing about Florida State fans, we've been spoiled for so long.
We have been. Yeah.
And, it's we unless the longest winning streak, consecutive bowl games. I mean, hey, that's ours for a long time. Nobody's breaking that anytime soon.
No.
I'm with it.
All right, guys.
Scott, hey, thanks for hanging out, man.
All right.
Absolutely.
This is my dog here. This is Tally. I'm not going to tell you how she came up with that name, but
if we had to guess.
Yes. But hey, thanks. It was great talking to you guys, and go Knowles.
Appreciate it, man.
Appreciate you coming on.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Appreciate our couple of callers tonight. We were going to kind of look at the second half of the year, but Richie, I don't know. Do you want to get into that? Do you want to save it? You want to keep going? It's been a little while on here. Quick thoughts on the second half of the year. I don't know that we need to go game by game, but what are your thoughts second half of the year?
Yeah. So second half of the year, I think it's exactly what we thought it would be. We have Clemson. Obviously that's a loss. So let's put that game aside. But we have 4 games that are very winnable. And I think that we can win all of those, but I don't expect us to. But man, if we beat Pitt, who knows? I'm gonna get into an extreme homer mode and probably pick us to win every game from that point. But yeah, man, I think this is again, outside of Clemson, this is our mid-season point of the season to where I think we can do some damage, so to speak, and we'll have different guests on every week coming to from here on out. But man, I don't know. Like if I put the win total at 4.5 games, what would you guys say right now? Because I don't know where I'd go.
It all comes down to what happens this weekend.
Yeah,
if we win this weekend, I think we get to 5. I don't see us running the table. Minus the Clemson game, right? So everything I kind of say is with that game excluded. Yeah, I don't see us running the table, could we? Sure. Like, could we beat any team left on the schedule minus Clemson? Yes. Could we lose to any team on the schedule? Yes.
Absolutely.
So that's kind of where it's tough. If we win this weekend, I think we can win 2 of the last 3. Clemson game again excluded. But if we lose this weekend and it doesn't look terrible, I mean, I still think we can win 2 of the last 3, NC State, Duke, and Virginia. But I think this weekend's big. I think Pitt's Narduzzi said that Pitt's starting quarterback is likely still out. We'll probably have more info on that Thursday when we get to that.
Yeah.
But I don't think their quarterback is playing. We're going to probably see a backup in NC State, and so that bodes well for FSU as well. NC State, though, is 4-2, and we have to go on the road to play there. So it's a game that Florida State, it's going to be tougher for FSU. NC State will have played Miami just before that, so we'll see kind of how that goes. Again, North Carolina blew NC State out. Pittsburgh played them really, really close. Virginia Tech blew them out. So I think that, those are winnable games. Virginia's a winnable game. It'll be tough, but fortunately it's at home. And then you get Duke to finish off the year. We should beat Duke. So, 6-4 best case, probably looking at, if we can win this weekend, we're probably looking at 5 wins in my estimation. Freddie?
Yeah, I agree. I just think even if we pull off a win this week, it's still a team that's learning how to win each and every week. So there's going to be some growing pains. Some games we should win, we may end up losing. So the NC State game is one, even with a backup, that worries me because they're getting better each and every week. I said it a few weeks back. That was one of the games I was worried about. Duke, that's a game I think we can pull out. And Virginia, after seeing them yesterday, I wasn't worried about Virginia till yesterday. So we'll see how they progress as the season goes along. But I mean, it's just if this team keeps progressing, all those games we can win. But at the same time, like we said, if they have a lapse like they had last week after that big win against UNC, we can easily get whooped in these games. So it just really depends what we see against Pitt.
Yeah, and that's what sucks. Like we have 4 games where we all think we could win, but we could lose every single one of them. And so it's frustrating, but at the same time, like Freddie said, this Pitt game is big, man. If we can beat Pitt, and they're not a bad team, but they're not a good team either. If we can beat Pitt, that's a huge deal, and it gives you confidence moving on from the season because obviously outside of Clemson, like we've said, every game's winnable, man. Like every game, you could also lose every game, so it's tricky, but beating Pitt would be a huge deal. And if they don't have Pickett, their quarterback, that's a big deal too. And that's a game. If they don't have their quarterback and we lose, then we got a lot to worry about.
Yeah, Pitt has we'll get more into breaking them down this weekend, but Pitt's not been super impressive. They couldn't get anything going against Miami and ended up losing by 2 scores. Obviously, they lost by 6 touchdowns to Notre Dame. Lost a game against BC, who BC is really not great either. Well, shout out to BC, almost beating Clemson without Lawrence. You kind of knew that they weren't gonna hold on there. And then Pitt lost close to NC State, who was down a quarterback. So, or maybe he played in that game. Yeah, Larry played in that one. So, that's a game that's hard to glean a lot from because neither quarterback is still playing at this point. But, you got to beat Pitt, and at the end of the day, it's a much different matchup than that Louisville game was. And so we'll just kind of, we'll see how they play. I like us coming off the bye week. I mean, Pitt's coming off the bye week as well. So it's kind of the same for both of us. But, hopefully we can find a way, get this close back to, I'd like to go into the NC State game. I know it's going to be a tough game. I'd like to go into the NC State game with a chance to get back to 500. It's way too early for this, but their quarterback, Devin Leary, broke his fibula. He's supposed to be out 4 to 8 weeks. That was 2 weeks ago, and we play them in 2 weeks. And so I don't think he'll be back for our game. I don't know if there's been any updates on that or not. I wish him a speedy recovery that gets him back the week after our game. So I'm not wishing for an injury. I'm just hoping this injury doesn't heal as fast as it's supposed to. So, you get to play back-to-back teams without their starting quarterback. You don't win those games, So we'll see. Yeah. But if Florida State get back to 500, if Florida State can get to 500, you lose to Clemson to go to 4-5. All you got to do at that point, in my opinion, is split those last 2 games. But you got a chance to go above 500 if you can win them. So, so we'll see. I think it all kind of hinges on this Pitt game. We'll see kind of where it goes from there. You guys have anything else before we? Yeah, we'll preview a Thursday night for sure.
That on Thursday, but yeah, man, I'm legitimately not sure which way I'm leaning right now for this game. So I'm excited for Thursday to come, and typically by Tuesday, Wednesday, I have a good idea of where I'm leaning, and that's where I'll go. But right now, I have no idea. Freddie, I know you're a sporting man yourself, man. This is a tough game.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and watch Pitt a little bit. I didn't get to watch them the last 2 weeks. I saw them the NC State week, and I don't know. We'll see how they change since then, and I'll make my decision based off of that. Because I do think we'll come to play on Saturday. I think we'll respond after that Louisville game, but I just don't know what Pitt's working with right now with their guy being out. So I'm gonna take a look at them. I know the defense is tough, but I'm kind of leaning our way, but we'll see.
Yeah, I like us to win it. And Rich, you'll be drunk enough on Thursday night that he'll pick us to win it too. Let's not kid ourselves. We'll probably all pick us except for Brian. Maybe Harlan doesn't.
I may not pick us just for that reason. So we don't.
There we go. All right, Freddie.
No, I got us. You can write it down.
I like us to win, but on the paper, I'm just not gonna put it.
Oh man! Any closing thoughts before we get out of here? Any shout outs? Anything you guys have on your mind? Richie, you probably got somebody getting married this week. He wants to shout out again.
Nobody I know getting married this week. Shout out to my sister. Her daughter was born in March, so yeah, a very awkward time to be born. But she's happy. She had her first Halloween, and they had a good time. So shout out to my sister and my niece.
Shout out Guthrie's and shout out the Lemieux Company, man. Hey, it was long. It's cool as hell. Guthrie's, man, they've been showing us love throughout this process, man. If anybody's interested in becoming a sponsor, you see the work we've done with everybody else, and
yes, sir.
They'll tell you the dividends is paid on their end. So if you want to join the team, hit us up. It'll be well worth your time, man. Double fries, no slaw. Get the extra sauce as well.
We need to let Freddie sign off every week at this point. That was perfect, man.
Yeah. Shout out Trey Rowland as well, who is doing his segment with us. Trey Rowland's drive-through, little ode to Guthrie's there as well. We obviously insert that into the show and then throw it up on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all those things afterwards. If you don't want to make a long-term commitment and you want to try and see what, partnering with us might look like, Trey will do that for the remaining 6-7 weeks of the season. So can kind of do a short-term thing and see if that works well for you. And if not, it's a quick commit. So it'll be over soon. But shout out Trey, shout out you guys. Always appreciate Ed Kennedy, Brian Hathaway, and Harlan Harris, who kind of helped this thing go on the back end, behind the scenes, doing a lot of work. Appreciate you guys. And looking forward to Thursday night. I'm excited to preview this game. Excited to there's some good football this weekend. We didn't even talk about the cocktail party is this weekend. Miami plays on Friday night, so that's fun.
Of course,
we talked about
it's Miami. Where, of course.
Well, listen, the ACC is the clown show there. Like, I want to talk crap about Miami, but the ACC is the clown show that agrees.
Miami would play on a Friday night. I'm just throwing that out there.
They're going to give us a Friday night game next week, or next year, just because you said all this. But
probably.
My Liberty Flames at 6-0. They're ranked right now.
There we go. Here we go.
Ranked 25th.
Freddie loves Liberty too, though. Freddie's making a lot of money on Liberty.
We opened up as a 19-point dog tonight. That's already down to 15.5 points.
Oh, man.
We play at Virginia Tech. Yeah, you should have placed that earlier. Michigan, Indiana this weekend. Florida, Georgia, as we said, the cocktail party. Obviously, Florida State plays Pittsburgh. Clemson, Notre Dame without Trevor Lawrence.
That's a game.
So there's some good football this weekend, man. I'm excited for this weekend. I want to see an FSU win. I want to see a Georgia win. I don't really care what happens in Clemson, Notre Dame, because they're just going to beat them in the ACC title game with Trevor. But it should be fun. So Pac-12's back good as well. Stanford,
a lot of good football this week.
So it should be fun. If you watch this, if you listen to it, if you can rate us 5 stars on iTunes, like everything, subscribe to everything. It's all Double Fries Pod. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Patreon, Twitch. If there's something else that we have, it's Double Fries Pod. So search for it there. And I don't know whose song it is. Who wants a song this week?
You take it, TJ.
Oh, man. I feel like I have no idea when it's song time. If somebody else thinks of something quickly while I'm looking through my phone at what the heck I've been listening to, let me know. Other than that, I will go with
He's looking. He's not sure, but he's looking.
I'll go Renegade by Jay-Z.
All right, there you go.
Renegade, Florida State theme, Eminem's on there. Let's roll.
And we can watch the Bucks tomorrow as a family. So love it.
It'll be the day before the hostility. All right.